They have some questions again, 2 questions. So Sarah asks, I'm struggling with how to deal with thoughts I actually enjoy getting lost in. I find I sometimes daydream about the way things could be, things I actually want but don't have, usually for things that feel outside of my control. I'm aware that I'm constructing these thoughts inside and sometimes outside meditation. But I find myself wanting to be lost in them, preferring them to being in the present moment or the actual situation at hand. Do you have any advice for reminding ourselves not to fall into the trick of thinking something else we want would make us happier than what is? I'm getting better at being kind in these moments, but I usually just feel guilty after. Okay. So awareness is not something that excludes or includes or chases after. Awareness is just a simple openness to the way things are. It's this intuitive state of knowing things rather than engaging in things as a doer. So we're not approaching ourselves here from the perspective of trying to accomplish, trying to get rid of, etc., etc. This is more about noticing the way things are. Very basic, very simple. So here I'm struggling, that's what Sarah says, right? I'm struggling with how to deal with thoughts I actually enjoy getting lost in. The problem here are not the thoughts that you enjoy getting lost in. The problem is that you struggle with them. That's the real problem. There's no need to struggle with your thoughts. There's no need to push your thoughts around, form them and shape them so they are only to your liking. That's not the point of practice. The practice is rather seeing the way things are. So first of all, there are thoughts. We all have thoughts, right? It's very simple, very down to earth. You notice now, okay, thoughts are like this. There's nothing for you to do about thoughts. That's why meditation is relaxing. There's no work to be done there. Simple recognition, our thoughts are like this. And how are thoughts? Well, first of all, they are impermanent. They don't last. Whether they are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, they don't last. Second of all, they don't have any core to them. There is no essence to them. There is no substance to a thought. Thought is a very ephemeral process. It's not really any substantial, heavy thing there. It's more like a process that moves like wind or like a cloud. Whether they are positive or negative doesn't play so much a role right now. We just notice, there is a thought. The thought is like this. So that is also no struggle, you notice? But simply realizing that thinking is like this, you're not struggling with it. You're also not trying anything. You're not here with an agenda. Awareness doesn't have any agenda. It doesn't try. It simply is aware. But you will notice from yourself that you have a habit at looking at yourself that's often very critical. Like you're looking at your thoughts, you're looking at the mind's content, your emotions, your body, whatever it is that you're looking at with an agenda. It's critical. It's excluding. It should be like this. It could be like that. This morning we had a guest at our retreat. She said, Tobi, what do I do when I fall asleep during the meditation? Should I just take a nap? You notice how we can make simple things like the body being tired into a problem. We can feel guilty about it. And it's totally unnecessary. It's unnecessary. You're tired, then sleep. There's no need to make a story about it. You wake up again, you meditate. That's at least the case in a retreat. And then you're tired again, well, sleep again. You need energy, you need to rest. So most of us come to the retreats or to whatever it is that we are in life, or we're doing in life, we're very, very restless. Whatever it is that we're doing is incredibly restless. We're not giving our mind any break at all. There's a continuous activity with the mind. Mind never stops, continuously racing. If there's nothing to worry about, the mind will create things to worry about. It's like this. I find I sometimes, that's what Sarah says again, I find I sometimes daydream about the way things could be. That's okay. Daydreaming is like this. It's that simple. Notice the daydreaming. Daydreaming is like this. It comes and it goes. Massage. So, things I actually want but don't have, usually for things that feel outside of my control, etc., etc. That all is like a guilt trip. You try to perform. The meditation turns into some sort of performance. Some people, they meditate for their gurus, for example. They have this kind of guru, and then the guru says something, and then they feel very guilty about not really being able to keep up with the guru's demands, and it's an incredible guilt trip. Or then they imagine, like, I'm sure that the guru meditates much better than I do, and therefore I should strive much harder. And it's a lot of additional stress that we really don't need at all. Like this stress here that Sarah expresses, things I actually want but don't have, usually for things that feel outside of my control. What she implies here is that it's not all right to have that. That it's not okay. There is something inside of her that feels not okay with the way it is. And the way it is that she thinks, that she daydreams, or that she thinks about the way things could be, that she has joy with that also. But these things are not to be fought away. These things need awareness, they need attention. So we bring in consciousness into the process. We're not bringing in like kind of a warrior's attitude. You're not here to fight. The cat comes, the cat does its thing, and then it leaves. Your emotions are the same, your thoughts are the same. Everything is the same. There's in fact nothing to be done. You are all right. People get into trouble when they start identifying with their emotions and their thoughts and then start expressing them. Then it becomes trouble. Or suppressing them. But if you open up to all facets of experience, realizing the way they are, it's fine. In either way, it's fine. You will eventually notice that, no, I am not that. This simply comes and goes, yet I'm still here. No, I'm not angry. Anger comes and goes. I'm a witness to it. Oh no, I'm not the daydreamer. Daydreaming comes and goes. I'm a witness to it. Once you figure that out, now how does your life look like if you're adding more consciousness, if you're adding more awareness? Do you become sort of a neutral robot? Not being emotional anymore at all, being totally detached. Someone coming, approaching you, says, I love you. And you're like, well, I don't care, I'm detached. Of course not. Awareness is not like that. Awareness simply realizes the way things are. Someone says, I love you, you realize. There's a feeling as a response. You're not trying to suppress the feeling. Maybe someone says, I hate you, and you feel terrible as a response. The point is not to do anything about it. Watch, notice. Because none of that lasts. None of that stays. And the spiritual path is about showing you, with your own experience, that you are none of that passing stuff. That all this passing stuff, daydreaming, thinking, emotions, etc., appears to something, doesn't it? It reveals itself to you. You're the one that sees, oh, there is daydreaming, and it's probably not right. Maybe I should. But just simply notice that this daydreaming appears to something. It shows itself to something. It's in fact in front of you. The daydreaming is not who you are. You are not the daydreamer. Like an actor that stands in front of you playing on stage, pretending to be a daydreamer. You are not the actor. You are in the audience. But you are invested in the act. You constantly jump onto stage and try to fix the act. Or there is daydreaming, shouldn't be there, So you yourself, you tend to become an actor, trying to get rid of the daydreamer, kind of some sort of thought police. Like you have the police officer coming on stage and saying, well, oh, there is a daydreamer again, let's get him locked up. That shouldn't be the case. But all of that is stage. The one that tries to get rid of the daydreamer, the one that's daydreaming, the one that's annoyed at the one who tries to get rid of the daydreamer, all of that is act. The mind plays its roles. But none of those roles is who you are. It is simply stuff that the mind has learned to repeat like a record. She goes on, I'm aware that I'm constructing these thoughts. See, here is a bit of a trouble that I am constructing these thoughts. Are you? Sit down for half an hour and observe yourself. Are you constructing thoughts? What if a chicken outside makes a sound and you think, oh, a chicken. Did you do that? Can you then also just simply stop thinking? Since you are the constructor of thoughts, why construct them? If it's really you, then why not just simply enjoy some silent time, some time without thought, which is very restful. So as you are not the one who produces thoughts, you are also not the one who makes thoughts cease. It's very stressful either way. You could make thoughts cease and you could produce thoughts. I agree with that. But most of the time we're not. Most of the time we're not present. We're not aware that thoughts are coming and going at all. They come and go by themselves. But when you notice that thoughts come and go by themselves, why stress out about them, trying to control them? Simply leave them alone. And if you leave your thoughts alone, something funny will happen. They will stop. They'll just all by themselves. There's nothing for you to do to stop them. They stop by themselves as soon as you leave them alone. Thoughts are fed by your chasing them or by your resistance. This is what feeds thinking. You're either fighting your thoughts, it means you're giving them credibility, or you are chasing after them. Also, that means you're giving them credibility. Mostly we chase after positive thoughts, right? And then we battle away the negative thoughts. It means we're giving them value and credibility. If you don't give them any value, if you simply see them as thoughts, thinking, that's just thinking. Thinking comes and goes, it comes and goes. Changes and changes and changes every second. Then that is true. And you can observe and watch this truth. Do you have any advice, Sarah goes on, for reminding ourselves not to fall into the trick of thinking something else we want would make us happier than what is? See? It's not about not thinking. It's about awareness of thought. Thinking is neither holy nor unholy. It is neither good nor bad. It simply is like this. Comes and goes and comes and goes. Like the cat. There he is again. I'm getting better at being kind in these moments, and yes, that's true. Being kind is very important. And how can you be kind in these moments? You leave it be. You leave things be. That's very kind. Like leaving things alone. What would you do if I came to your room in the afternoon today and I start taking your hair apart? Just without your permission. I just come and take your hair apart and kind of fix it the way I want to have it. Take off your rings. Just tell you, please sit down there on the couch. But you don't want to sit down there on the couch. You say, come, please relax on the couch now. It's time to relax. You say, but I don't want to relax. I'm hungry. I need to eat something. The couch is your place right now, please. Can you sit down? What would you do if I would run behind you the whole day and try to kind of fix you? Whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you think, I always go like, yeah, well, you could do better there. Ah, yeah, you're getting more kind, but yeah, why do you feel sad? Come on, don't be silly. You should be all tough and let go of that sadness. You're a meditator, you shouldn't be sad. Wow, this is terrible. This is bullying, isn't it? The worst thing is this bully is closer than you think for most of us. Because we're constantly bullying ourselves like this. Then we feel guilty and so forth. I'm getting better at being kind. Kindness is not something to get better at, really. Kindness is more something to discover inside of yourself. It's not so much a doing rather than an opening up to the way things are, to the way people are, and accepting them for who they are, rather than constantly approaching everyone around you with a scalpel, with a wrench, a screwdriver, a hammer, constantly doctoring around at the world and people around you. That's not the spiritual path. This is aggressive. It's intrusive. Love is not like that. Love doesn't come to you and says you are essentially wrong and I'm here with the agenda to fix you. Love simply accepts all of your aspects, every single thing. And the funny thing that happens in that openness, in that space, in that very kind space, is that people heal around you. And if you give that space to yourself and your own aspects, your own messy emotions and thoughts and whatnot, if you receive them in just openness, they heal themselves. Just like that. You can watch. That's, to me, the miracle of kindness, of love actually, is this full acceptance of myself and all aspects that are appearing in my field of experience, moment by moment, breath by breath, and not contracting around them and trying to manipulate and control them, but giving them space, taking myself out of the picture, leaving myself alone, in fact. That is so healing, it is so relaxing, very comfortable. I sit here with no doing in mind. There's nothing to be done. But most of us are frantically doing in meditation practice. Why? Because we sincerely believe that we are wrong somehow. Most people meditate because they feel they are somehow wrong. And their emotions are wrong, and their thoughts are wrong. And it all needs to be corrected and fixed. And if we have this attitude towards ourselves, now guess what kind of attitude we bring out into the world? You are wrong, you need to be fixed. I have the truth. Here, taste a bit of my truth. It will set you free. It will help you. Here, come, try this, do that. You definitely need to change your ways of thinking. You definitely need to change. And so forth. And it goes up to big organizations. We need to kill all infidels. We need to fight those who kill all infidels. It turns into a huge global mess. And international warfare arises precisely out of the idea that I am not lovely. And so we are unable to talk to and see other people's loveliness. We instead only see dirt and badness. And surely we must attack and purify it. Get rid of the virus. Get rid of the bad stuff around me. That is very, very kind of, it's kind of funny and sad at the same time, isn't it? So there is guilt. If you feel guilty, fine. Receive the guilt in kindness. Oh, hello guilt. Do whatever you need to do. I'm okay with you. You can be here. I'm larger than guilt. I'm the one that gives permission to guilt. I'm the one that gives permission to feelings. I'm the one that gives permission for myself to be sick, to feel like a heap of dung today. That's fine. It's part of the human condition. The problem is really that we expect and we have learned that you should always be happy. You should always have a smile and always feel great. If not, then something is wrong with you. There is a pill for it too. If you're not constantly laughing, if you're not constantly agitated and entertained, something is not right with you. But I assure you, you are totally fine. Just don't buy into the thoughts that suggests that you're not, because these thoughts are not original to you. You have learned them. You took them on board and you started investing in them with belief and trust. So a meditator doesn't trust thoughts or the content of thoughts. A meditator simply trusts in the way things are. And in that space that receives things the way they are, without any trouble. Now Chris, is the second question. It's a very short question. I like that a lot. Very to the point. Is awareness kind? That's a nice question. Is awareness kind? Now, you could say so. You could say that awareness is kind. because of its quality to receive things without judging them, without being pushy. There's no agenda in awareness. So in that way, I would say this is a kind quality of awareness. It is able to receive everything. And as it is able to receive everything, it is very kind towards what it receives. There is no intent in awareness. Like, I'm receiving it in order to do something to it, or to get something out of it. It simply receives it. It gives things space. And what happens is quite a miracle if you start giving things space. You give yourself space. Give your feelings space, leaving them be. They start to heal. You start to get energized, just automatically. Like the tea stops shaking when you put the cup down. The tea shakes as long as you're holding it, right? If you're putting it down, then the tea stops shaking, stops vibrating. And it does so all by itself. You don't have to do anything to the tea to make it calm. You simply leave it alone. And that is pretty kind, isn't it? If I approach any one of you simply leaving yourself and accepting yourself as you are, there's no need to change anything. You have all the space that you need. I'm not approaching you like an adult would approach a child. I'm not approaching myself like an adult would approach a child. Neither am I approaching you like an adult as a child. Or approaching myself like this. There's acceptance of the way it is. Sometimes it is enough. In the morning at the retreats, I would sit down one-on-one with people, and then they start telling me their stuff, and I just let them talk. Sometimes it's totally enough. The talking becomes slower, then there are a few tears, then it becomes even slower, then it starts getting reflective, then there are shoulds and woulds and coulds, and then it becomes more and more silent. And in the silence, there is knowledge arising just like that. There is release just like that. So sometimes it's just enough to leave things alone. I always give this example of cats. They like to come when they want to come, chasing behind the cat. Then he would go away. If I wanted to keep him now, and then he wants to go away. But if I'm just opening up, then he comes and he goes, and it's fine. This is letting go. This is kind to the cat. I'm being kind with the cat by leaving the cat alone. I'm giving the cat some food, and if he comes, I'm nice and kind. I would pet the cat, or simply let him give me a massage or whatever he wants to do. And so the cat feels good. It's that simple. So in that way, I would say awareness is kind. Now if you go a little bit deeper, there is no need, in fact, to say anything about awareness. Awareness is like this, or it is like that. Saying that awareness is kind is more like a poetic description of awareness. It gives you kind of a taste, an idea, like good poetry does. It touches your heart. But speaking more deeply, then awareness is completely empty, meaning that there is no one being aware. There is no center to awareness. Awareness simply has this knowing quality. It is not a thing. It is empty, knowing quality. This is also called the Buddha, the one who knows, the awakened one. So this type of awareness, there is no need to call it anything. It would all be a mistaken calling. Labeling it this, labeling it that, it fails. Is it an extremely happy state? Is it an extremely bad state? We can only judge and value things from the way we are and from what we know. And awareness is beyond anything we usually know. So by comparing it to things, it doesn't really help. Is it kind? Is it rude? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter so much that when you receive whatever goes on inside of yourself in the meditation session, you just receive it. That's what matters. What is receiving it doesn't really matter. It will matter then towards the end of your spiritual journey. You turn around to find there's nothing there. There's just empty knowing. The way I would say, maybe it's a bit like a theater. At first you think you're on the stage, you're one of the actors, you're very busy, you're very invested in your role. Then you pick up meditation, you start getting better at it, and you notice more and more that, oh, wait a second, I'm actually in the audience. I'm the one that's looking at all the roles that I play. So and then you establish some stability in the audience as the audience. You become much more relaxed. Self-explanatory, right? And once you get some good stability in that, eventually, you then look at yourself. Who sits in the audience? And you find that there is no one there. There is an awareness of audience, of play, and the construction of an identity, and all that. But there is nothing and no one there that's aware. That would be the end of searching. This is then leading to complete awakening. But for us, it's really important to just, first of all, notice that there is a play going on and that it's not really what I am. It's not really who I am. It's just this play going on. Whether it is kind or not, or this or that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter so much. What matters is the experience that their stress ends. For awareness, stress ends. The stress of the roles that are played in life comes to an end. As soon as we recognize that there is something that is a witness to life, whether that is kind or not, that would be then again in the conventional realm discussed by the actors, but not actually so important. The Buddha himself didn't answer many such questions. It's up to experiencing, not up to discussion so much. More up to experiencing. Open up your eyes and see, now how is it? And you will notice it is neither kind or rude or whatever. It's simply like this. It's like this. It doesn't have to be a something. It doesn't have to be anything. It's like this. So yeah, is awareness kind? Yep, in a poetic way I would say so. Yet in an actual matter-of-fact way, awareness is empty. It is neither this nor that. It has no center, no core. Okay, so are there any other questions? All right then, thank you very much for coming. Have a good week.